Hey, Chaz.
Oh, nice. Looks like you're live.
Right, perfect. Sorry about that, guys. This is the first time I am using.
No worries, it happens. But it's cool to see that it's live now.
Cool. All right. Okay. Sorry about the delay. I think everybody is on now. I just sent a notification on our Discord and also on our Luma link as well. Okay. While we're waiting for the folks to show up, I actually want to take a second to just talk about Re Protocol and why I'm very excited about this. Re has been a project that seems forever in the crypto age. I remember when you guys just first building it and your Discord was super active, but you were doing a lot of stuff Web3 projects do. But now when I look at your Discord, it is completely different. One of the really cool indicators that I like to talk about is the fact that you're growing really fast, but your engagement, your retention rate actually increase as you have more members. We've never seen data like this in Web2 or in Web3. And for a long time, I thought, community don't really scale. But when I look at you, it is just your anti-gravity sort of level of miracle here. And I know you guys run a very successful crypto project. I know a lot of our folks here, they are interested to learn more about how they can leverage Discord with crypto. So I'm excited to kind of like hear about your experience, your journey, and what we can do to learn from you guys. Can you guys first, okay, let's show the slides first on what we're going to talk about. Before we talk about everything related to CT, I would like you guys to tell people what Re Protocol is. Yeah.
All right, cool. Hey all, my name is Steph. I run social here at Re. I've been at Re for almost 2 years now. It's been a long time seeing Re grow. But yeah, a bit about what Re is that we are an on-chain reinsurer, basically insurance to insurance companies. So now we're essentially opening up a 1T industry on-chain where people could deposit their stable coins and earn stable real yield from insurance premiums. So yeah, that's a bit about Re. We're in the DeFi yield bearing stablecoin RWA space. So yeah, that's a bit about Re.
Chess, do you also want to give an introduction about you? You're like the really important person on the Discord side.
You're too kind. Stuff is definitely as important. But hey, everyone, I'm Chaz Evie. I've been with Ree for about a year and a half. It's been pretty amazing. Very cool to see how far we've come. We had a lot of moments starting off where there was a lot of things we were experimenting with, but starting 2026, we're being very intentional with how we proceed now that we have something very established with our community and brand. So very excited to see everything move forward. And in this call, thanks for having us. I'm excited to share some knowledge and value if
Yeah.
it comes up.
Okay, so we are gonna structure this in three parts. First is about content. So everything around how to create great content from you guys, but also from your community members. I know in the crypto space, one of the biggest problems is everybody have no great content. Like, right away when you look at the threads that this is somebody incentivize them to do it. Second part is about distribution. I think content and distribution are different. So how do you spread the word around on Twitter? And the third part, which is very unique to you guys, is about sustainability, because I think in crypto, one of the biggest thing is people think about having a budget, then they spend the budget, then they stop working on it. So we wanted to learn more from you guys about how you sustain this process, because I know you guys have been working on it for a very, very long time. Okay, so how to create great content. First part, tell me about, I know there was a process before when you have no product, the site is not completely updated yet. How do you create vibes in the community to get people excited about what's coming?
Oh yeah, I can jump into this. Wow, it was very fun in the beginning. So basically, I my intention was to always make Re a second home for a lot of people in Web3. So I always wanted to see, okay, if I want them to be here and actually enjoy it, what are some things I can add here for them to find value? So for me to first start off the culture of me, my first being very welcoming, engaging, supportive, and in a sense loving, and then just promoting those kinds of vibes in a community so everyone can start doing it, and then for me to start implementing all these sorts of events for people to start joining us and hosting and creating an environment of fun. Like a lot of people every single day starting from the first month would start to come back and join the chat and see how welcoming the community was, and they would say things like, okay, cool, when's the next event? And it got to a certain point where I personally couldn't host all the events anymore because people wanted me to host events overnight. So I would get more people to support the events, and now we have over 46 people hosting events here or there, but still maintaining the vibe that we had that we first started, where it's just very fun, creative, and engaging in all parts.
I know you guys have your octopus and your astronaut. Tell me a bit about how you guys decide what mascot should the community have.
Yeah, I could speak more on this. So yeah, I first started with the octopus with a doodle. And for the longest time we thought it didn't work. But then over at some point, like, it just sort of popped off. People just started making content with it. And they actually designed our so we call it Buffy the astronaut. They designed like an anime girl. We did like Chaz ran like this contest in the Discord for roles, and someone designed it, and it was really cool to see that community played a role in part of this like IP. But my suggestion is that ideally it should represent what your protocol means and what it stands for. I don't think all protocols need a mascot. It needs to have some sort of purpose, right? So for us, it's like an octopus. It's smart. It's versatile. It has multiple limbs, which or tentacles, which represents all the lines of reinsurance. And then the astronaut, all the DeFi and what we're exploring, like we're Re's a first mover in the reinsurance space, so that's kind of what it metaphorically represents. So having these symbols just makes your community's content more interesting, and it really brings out the artistic side of them. But yeah, this is a bit into our mascots.
Got it. I think one of the really cool things that Reed does is, I think vibe is a very abstractive terms, right? Fun is also a very abstractive terms, but I think if you're going to Reed's Discord, you will see all those cool animations, cool. I guess the astronaut is very cute, so is the octopus, and I think that does tell people a little bit about like what is the vibe here. It's supposed to be a fun place, and later we see so many original content being created out of those mascots, which is really cool. Okay, talk about how you think about creating content. I know you guys does a ton of content before your member actually start creating them, so tell me a bit about what your journey looks like. How did you decide to do the content that you're doing now? Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. Or Chaz, do you want to explain like the role hierarchy and kind of how that plays into it?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a role hierarchy. We chose 3 roles just to make it very simple, and it was actually inspired by a project called Billions Network. But basically, there's a hierarchy where it starts from real contributor to real OG and then real Giga Chad. But to even rank up and get the first role, uh, we would encourage people to support us by creating content. So they can create content by either drawing. It could be a drawing of the team or our mascots, or it could even be an infographic. And then we also encourage people to write threads. It can be something very educational, informal, um, a lot of good stuff. So from there, a lot of people started to create content. I think these days we're leaning more towards something more product relevant, even with the drawing. So we're getting more people to draw more infographics around this time.
How did it learn what product that you're actually building?
Yeah, so our Twitter and Medium blogs, they're filled with educational content about reinsurance, what it is. And so a lot of that, they take that content and sorry, there's like background noise somewhere. Okay, sorry. So they basically they take this content from socials, and so the more education that we could provide to them, the better their content normally is. So yeah, they rely on our socials, and recently we incorporated a couple more product focused channels like Reinsurance Basics and yield farming, so people could dive into the different integrations. Like we're on Pendle, we're on Termex. And so as these announcements come out, they have things to write about.
In terms of the actual content that you're creating, how do you think about the forms? Do you do long articles, short TLDR version of things, or do you try to do images, or it doesn't really matter because people do read a lot? Whatever you guys post, they read it.
Yeah, I've seen multiple variations of it. But we welcome like articles, videos, threads, art pieces. Right now, recently shifted a lot more to product education, which means more longer reads. But yeah, we accept any form of creative content. Sometimes people do like IRL items, like someone tattooed like a like they got a re-tattoo, or someone like made like clay pottery around, right? So there's different ways that they express their creativity, and we're open to I think at the end of the day we just want their audiences to learn more about care about it, and for them to explain it in their unique way. No one wants to read AI slop. So it should educate their audience in what's unique in their voice.
I have a question. What if somebody is horrible at writing, English is not their first language, and they're also not good at drawing? Can they still create good content for you guys? Or there needs to be some innate skill sets for people to be able to create good content?
Regarding not being good at English, I think there might be an area for us in the server because we have a huge international community, honestly, and people will start to create content in their own language, and then we have specific volunteers that manage every single regional part of the Discord, and then they'll flag it to us and the team, and then we can see what they're creating. So I think th as long as it's a region that we're currently supporting, they'll have a place. But if not, we normally support them with like it'll be easy. You just like ChatGPT it, try to make it very easy to read still, and we can like salvage what you created.
So in terms of the content they are creating, do you see a user journey? For example, right, I'm assuming that when they first created the content, it's not great. And then they learn over time how to do better and better content. Maybe they got feedback and then they get better. Is there a process that a typical user will go through before they can create like really cool content for you guys? Or because they like it, it's fun.
Yeah, honestly, the feedback loop is something we've been fine tuning, and I think we have a good system now. But basically, so a lot of people will want me specifically to dive into all of their content and give them feedback. I would kind of get pulled all over the place. But the best system in place is we have our existing real contributors or the OGs of the Giga Chads or the volunteers. Everyone is qualified to check their content and give feedback. Like, okay, let me see what you're making. I feel like your thread is missing this, or your drawing could be tweaked this way. But we do get a lot of people where they make really good stuff, or they make something that they feel like they're off about. But we have a really good feedback loop in place where our existing contributors that we've already assigned roles can jump in and give the feedback. And they're more than happy to, too. Some of our contributors actually host AMAs every single week where they can just review people's content and give them feedback. So it's pretty cool.
How do you give feedback? Is there any specific tips that you can give us about how to give constructive feedback?
Do you want to take this together, stuff? um, Regarding this one, for constructive, I think in the past, as long as it's not something very surface level, so like someone draws a drawing, it's like, oh, it's nice. And then it's like, it doesn't really explain a lot. But whenever someone creates a really good drawing, I also give them feedback like, hey, if you want to amplify the results, this is a good drawing. I love the infographic. Add a bit of writing to your post too, so that it's very effective in both the writing and the drawing part. So what's cool is we're kind of intertwining both the writers and the artists, where the artists are starting to add writing to their posts and the writers are starting to add infographics to their posts.
Oh, I do want to add, the reason why we do all of this is ultimately it does lead to conversions. We've seen our community eventually like deposit or hold RUSD. So that's pretty exciting because it means that all of this work that we've done, it works. It converts them to real users that do want to try out the product. They do want to learn more, and they make more content based on their user experience on the website.
And I think one of the things that is kind of interesting, I remember we talked about this before, are the people who end up staking are the people who contributed the most in your community. Is that correct?
Yes, very much so. Actually, there was a community member named Lop who has been contributing a lot of really good writing and drawing posts. And then they DM'd me. They were just like, "Look, I just deposited 1,600." I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I had to share that post with the team. Like, look, this is someone very active with us, and they just deposited. That's amazing. They have faith in our product. Now they're a product of the product. But it's becoming more common these days to see people who are actively contributing now joining in with us on the product experience. So it's very cool.
Before I want to kind of like dive into this particularly, I wanted to get your take because I know you have very special, you have a stand on AI or not.
I mean, personally, look, I personally, it helps you, right? Right? Like it could help structure, um, but at the end of the day, I just feel Twitter is full of AI slop, ever since Kyoto and all these InfoFi platforms. So I think if I were to recommend creators or if you're building out your community and you see them using AI, I think as long as they're using it in healthy balance, at the end of the day, no one wants to. I just don't see the conversion from these types of content. So my recommendation, just have a healthy approach to it, but yeah, generally, I think avoid to a certain extent. Or Chaz, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely a healthy balance. I know we've hosted a lot of art contests, and then it's so obvious, but people will use AI and they're like, "Look, I drew this," and it's like, "No, you didn't. You typed that. You typed in a prompt." But when it comes to we're not like completely against it as long as there's a healthy balance. But if someone writes a really good content piece and they just want to have some sort of AI drawing accompany it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that could complement it just to show like a little visual. But you as long as you're transparent that it is AI and then the content you're writing is from you. Yeah, and agreed. We do get a lot of AI submissions as well. So every time we're reading the content, we just have to like double check. Okay, this person's legit, right? And all of the people we've promoted as of right now should be in the clear. So yeah.
Can you tell us how do you tell if a content or if an artwork is AI or not?
I mean,
I,
there's like certain. Oh, Chaz, do you want to jump into
oh
it?
yeah, and sorry, and I'll let you go after. I think for
Okay.
drawings it's pretty easy because normally you can see like an extra finger on someone, or like the drawing has like weird patterns. But when it comes to writing, we honestly use a tool in the background to see if it's AI or not. And for the most part, AI has like a specific speech pattern. So then once we see it's AI, it's like, okay, this person is like totally not like legit in terms of creating content. It's focused on the actual contributors. But that's how we go about it.
Yeah, there's like definitely writing patterns where AI will say something like this, but it's not that. And then it'll use that line. It's like a hyphen. Yeah, it's those little
Yeah, that was a
indicators.
popular one.
I will yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. How about the opposite? Because people look at all those tweets. You guys clearly know what is a good tweet and what is not. How do you look at this and go like, wow, this is such a great tweet? Do you have like internal benchmark or internal feelings that you can share a little bit?
Yeah, we actually so the team of volunteers I have, we're actually all lean on each other to vouch for content because here or there, me included, there have been many posts where I'll say, "Oh my god, this looks good! Like they did amazing," and then someone catches me, like, "Oh no, Chaz, it's it's completely AI." I'm like, "Oh, oops." So here, like every time we find a quote unquote banger post, we always have to do like a community team vouching procedure where it's like, okay, if we want to push this up and have the team rate it, let's just make sure in all ends it's legit. And then after it goes through three people and it's fine, then we push it to the team. So I think that helps us out a lot because even I get caught sometimes. Like AI is kind of hard to detect these days, but we still do our best to sift through everything.
Steph, anything to add here?
Oh, my last thing, I think it's more on the social side. I know us as social media managers, we like using ChatGPT. It does make it help. It makes it help to easier to structure your tweets, but be very careful, be very mindful. Not everyone likes to read it. I just see this sort of anti-AI trend happening across all like social platforms on Twitter. Reddit, or people just don't like reading it. So just be mindful of how you're tweeting. I know for us, for our videos, we actually work with our community to bring them to life. So yeah, we've stopped relying on AI for our content. So that's my advice for people that run the social accounts. Maybe someone in your community could create something. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and sorry to add, the community really appreciates it that way because then they know the people who are creating the content. Because when we were creating like 3D AI generated stuff just for like a simple informational post, people would still say, "Oh, it's AI." Like even though the focus is on the writing content and not the AI, like the drawing itself. So it's really helpful now that we have people from our community who are making actual animations uh, to create the content.
So tell me, I think this is a good segue to amplification distribution. But before we go there, tell me, what do you do when you see this really great piece of content from your community? Do you guys repost it from your official account? How do you give almost like intrinsic reward to the member?
Yeah, I could jump on this one. So we have in a secondary, we have an intern account called Reintern. So what they do is they go around crypto Twitter and just engaging with our community. They're replying, they're liking. If it's like a really good tweet, they'll retweet it. We also have the region accounts. So like for example, Re Nigeria, Re India, Re Japan, and all these are in charge of amplifying voices within those sub communities. So those are some ways, and as well as the team. Our team, we share it in our Slack, or Chaz shares like a really notable tweet in our Slack, and we all go engage, like, comment. All of this goes a long way to just showing support to your community, and also signals to new community members like, hey, this is the type of content we'd like to see. So yeah, it all comes into play on social.
I guess the fact that you and your team, they are all going to that author's tweet and comment made a huge difference for them.
Yeah, I think it helps them feel recognized and that their work is getting noticed. It's not all going to vain. Yeah, I want to say it makes people feel special, and I think that's what we want at the end of the day.
Can you tell me more about all those regional accounts and this intern account? How do you guys have this idea of setting it up, and how do you guys manage it?
Yeah, so originally Re-Intern was our old handle. It was Re-Protocol. And then we rebranded it to the at Re. So Re-Intern, he's one of our interns, and what he does is um I will say that if you're gonna have an intern account, have someone that really one uses the product. He's actively trading on Pendle and knows all these yield strategies, and that really shows in the type of content he pushes out. So he'll push out like RUSD on Pendle and how do you trade on it. So these are things we normally wouldn't be able to do on the Re account because it would get us into investment advice. But when you have an intern account, it helps you kind of like offset this type of content. Um, so yeah, so that's the type of content he pushes out. Sometimes it's community Twitter spaces. Um, see, sometimes it's shit posting, memes, things we wouldn't normally do on the main account. I think that's one of the benefits of having an inter account. It's like a mini KOL that runs around. Um, so yeah, also about the regional accounts, our volunteers, helpers, they're translating the posts that come out of the main account. Sometimes they're hosting their regional Twitter spaces from those as well. Um, Yeah. So that's a bit about how we run our social accounts. I definitely recommend an intern account for those who are heavy in the DeFi space. I think it could break down knowledge easier than what a main account could do.
So before we talk about distribution, I wanted you to share more about the background stories about how the journey on how you guys developed this Twitter amplification strategy, because I know this is extremely successful, but I also know that you guys have been doing this for a very long time. So I'd love to learn kind of like a little bit history before you guys get to this point.
Yeah, so distribution specifically on social, right? Is that or how they work together?
Yes. So how did you run the kind of like the crypto the Twitter program before versus how you're running it now? What kind of, I guess, what kind of lessons that you guys have learned? What's the most important thing? Because I know role is a very big part, and I want to dive deep into it. But I would like people to know kind of like a bit background about how you guys get here.
Yeah, I mean, it's come a long way. I remember when we were on our older account, the Re Protocol. At first it was hard to get engagement because not off the bat, people understand what reinsurance is. At first, they think it's insurance. It's not insurance. It's insurance for insurance. Um, it's heavy DeFi, and our product was not live yet. So it's like, what do you tweet about? So before it was a lot more on the meme side. The content was a lot lighter. And it's gradually evolved. Now that our product is live, we're announcing collabs with Pendle and all these other DeFi platforms. Yeah, that's how it's come to life. I know before we had Twitter Spaces that were more RWA focused, and now it's more product spaces. So yeah, it's evolved over time. I think it largely depends on where you are with your product. Um, I will say, for those wondering, when do we launch the Discord? My recommendation is it's better to launch it sooner, and then you have an audience for when your product is live. That's what we did. As our Twitter was growing, we also had our Discord that was alive and running, and these two work very much together, right? So when something is tweeted, we share it in the Discord, then we get engagement from the community. So they work hand in hand. I think that's what the thing that we've done well is both are needed to really push the content out there. But yeah, that's a bit about history. It's come a long way in terms of the messaging for Re.
Chance, do you want to add anything on the Discord side? Because I know your Discord has changed a lot over time. And I think this is also a good segue to role management, because I know you guys also did a lot in terms of roles from the previous setup to what you have right now.
Oh yeah, I feel like back then I was able to manage everything by myself, but now that we have so much, like it's very like humbling, but we have so much traffic now that the 17 volunteer helpers under me really help me manage everything while I'm delegating as much as I can. But I think back then we had a bit of a role system where we would assign based off our best judgment, where it's like, okay, this person has done this and this. I think they're doing pretty good. Let's give them this role. But the role system back then wasn't really exactly established. So I think that's what not having an established role system now really helps a lot more people get integrated easier. Like, okay, this is the sort of path that I get to take. Um, and then also we used to have that sort of thing where we would no community one is still great, but the way we use it was we would put roles in the cash shop and for people to grind points so they can buy the rolls in the cash shop. I think this was cool, but then people started to try to gamify it. Like, oh, okay, like I need to like maybe some people would use alternate accounts too to try to like get more rolls for some kind of I don't know quote unquote future reward in the future. So these days we've really moved towards quality engagement. And instead of me deciding, oh yeah, this person's good, we have an entire team of people who work closely with me, our community team, and we vouch for people like multiple at a time. Like, okay, this person's good. I think they're ready to move up a rank. Like they're vouched by like 5 volunteers. and also the content too. Oh, sorry, yeah. Just having a vouching system with the team to like move the community up has been helping us out so much for our new rule system.
Can you guys talk about specifically? I know you guys do a lot of manual recognition, right? You talk about the vouching systems, and I know you guys review everything with human eyes. Can you talk about how is that process very different versus an automated systems in terms of like incentivizations and what user end up doing?
Oh yeah. So we have a nomination channel in our Discord, and the helpers will normally nominate someone, and they say, "Hey, everyone, I'd like to nominate this person for this rank. Here's the reasons why." And then if multiple other helpers nominate the same person, it's like, okay, we're all aligned. This person's doing very good and recognized widely, so we're gonna promote them. But honestly, this is so we have both a quality member and quality content versus someone that's just grinding. I've unfortunately I've had people who I think they did good, but they weren't recognized, and then they would message me after with like it's an entire essay. I'm like on why they should have got the role. I'm like, oh, is this quality? It's like they're being very desperate and it's not very genuine. It's like the people we're promoting as of right now, everyone's pretty happy about it. Like, yeah, they deserved it. They did great. Um, it's overall healthier for the community because every single person that got promoted, they're the people we want to continually communicate and work with, versus someone just getting promoted through automation and then they're just done with us. Like we're going for like a long game here.
So you guys mentioned how people would it honestly, I look at the tweets, some of them, I think people spend a day or 2 days or 3 days doing those very elaborate animations. And I'm assuming that some of them have the role, I think the Giga Chat role, and some of them don't. Can you talk about the inherent incentivizations or reward when people get when they're trying this hard? Because I know you guys have stopped giving out cash reward. You guys don't even talk about any of those. This is as organic as you can get, even from the Web2 standard. Tell me a bit about why you think people stick around. Why do they try so hard?
Do you want to take this one, Steph?
Oh, I want to take this. I'll say a couple of reasons. It's the role, the recognition, the status, right? Like, oh, I have this cool role in this Discord. You know what I do see on Twitter is people's accounts, they're growing as creators because as community members, they're all following each other. They're all engaging with each other. So I think beyond financial incentives, there's this also social aspect on Twitter, where people have an opportunity to grow their content, their personal brand. Um, so I think that's the value add for them. I will say it's like, for someone that would want to do this, you're definitely gonna need like a team. Um, uh, to really go through the roles and do the recognition, and you'll need some resources, but I do not recommend stay away from cash prizes, rewards. I think it just brings the wrong crowd. um in the past we've done campaigns with creators. We did cash rewards, but the reality is, I'm be honest, they don't really care about your product. They just want the cash. So I think roles for us, it's just been a healthier approach, and creating content. Jazz, you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, especially I immediately think of the weekly poker events. So for me,
Yeah.
working Web3 for a while, I was always like, okay, we need poker. How about a weekly poker event? So something we tested out, and we actually gave a cash prize for the top winner every single week. But then it's like these people, once they're done with poker, they're done with us until the next poker session. So it's like, oh, this isn't the kind of vibe or like group we want. Like, sorry, we want something more. Like we want people to stick around for mostly everything else instead of just one spot where you can just get money and then leave. So that's why we've distanced ourselves from people who would just kind of be one and done with us and focus more on quality members that are here with us for the long game and will return back to us every single day.
Yeah, I think
Um,
oh, sorry. Oh, okay,
I
my
was gonna,
last
yeah,
point
go ahead. Yes.
okay, my last point was, you're gonna be happier with 50 people that really care about your product and really wanna see you win over, like, 500 people that are just there for the money. I think as marketers, I know sometimes there's this pressure, like, we wanna grow to, like, thousands, but the reality is that, um, there is a small faction that will care, and I think those people are way more important. But yeah, that was my last point.
I was gonna get your advice on something. So you guys are really big, and you can be really picky. And I know this is a really great community, so people want to try. How about if you were, say, relatively small, right? Your project is not that famous, and you only got like 30 people that come visit you every day, and would you make this role selection process as hard as, for example, where you are right now, or you'll make it relatively slightly simpler, easier to get because you have just less people and less competition?
Honestly, it depends where you are in the product. Let's say you're just starting out. Before when we launched it, it was an open Discord. If I were to go back, I might have maybe we would have done like private invites, like curated it a lot more. Um, and one because of like spam and there's just more quality control to it. But if the product is live, you need an open Discord because people are gonna come into your Discord, ask questions about the product. Maybe they want to get more involved. Um, but yeah, if I were to start out back then, maybe a more curated, closed off Discord might have been a better approach. Um, what was the
So,
second part to your question?
oh, I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
So you would make the role, you will make it actually harder, even harder to get the roles versus like a bigger server.
Yes, yeah, at the beginning, I think this is a way better approach, just making it harder, still being exclusive. I don't see a benefit to keeping it easier. I know before, I feel we were optimizing for numbers, where it's keeping people to stay, but now it's like hey, if this isn't a product that you're interested in or you're not contributing quality content, what's the point, right? Like, again, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like sometimes as marketers, there's this pressure to build for big numbers, but the reality is that we should really just focus on quality community members. So therefore, yeah, I believe the roles making them harder then, making them harder now is the best approach.
Oh, and to add on, because the curated approach is really good for a lot of communities in our industry, they tend to give away a role called the OG role when a server is starting out. I think we may have done that a bit more easier back then, but then we changed our role system. So a lot of people back then who aren't around, they've lost their role. But like, there's this interesting expectation from projects where it's like, yeah, I was OG, so I get to just keep this role forever. But I think for those communities that start to curate and start off, to set the expectation like, hey, you're here and you worked hard to earn this role, but there's a chance that it may be purged if you disappear. So you're not like good for like the year. Like you would still have to come back and be a part of our community.
Yes. I think Steph has a really interesting theory about top talents. Can you share it with the audience here? And scarcity of attention. I thought that was really smart.
Oh, okay. You know, a quote, Bill Monday. He's from Monad. This is not an exact quote, but I always look up to these other projects like Monad and um, there's another project out there that stands out, Injective. But if your community is like, if you want a community of tens, and if you're like promoting like twos and threes, how's that gonna make people that are nines and tens feel, right? So, um, I want to say it's if you want the top talents, is sometimes you have to be okay with saying no, right? With our roles, we're selected for that reason. For someone that may have poured hours and hours of work, right? Just for a role to be given to someone that maybe popped it into ChatGPT and, produced something. It's not fair. So, and then you kind of drive out that talent. My advice is, be super selective on who you give these roles out to, because it's going to impact the people that are coming in, and their sentiment regarding it. Does that answer your question? Or yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I want to. Can I add
Yeah.
on too? This is an interesting thing that we didn't see coming, but along with managing top talents, sometimes if you're a worldwide business and there's people all over the world, you have all these different regions. If there's a lot of people that are top performers, but then coming from one region, this sometimes you get that weird FUD or sentiment where it's like, okay, why is this region getting prioritized? But it's like, it just happens to be that way. So you have to be careful with the what is it like setting expectations like, hey, this is how it's going, and they just happen to be the ones that are doing great because we got those weird like FUD peeps, but then they're gone now because they were there for the wrong reasons. But they'd be like, oh wow, this one region's getting all the attention. Like, why can't you split the promotions across all regions evenly? And it's like, we want to be fair in the sense that you provide quality work and not we're not trying to like do it that way because we would be mixing tens and like threes and fours at that point.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think those top talents, it's a search problem or it's a development problem?
Can you expand on those two options?
Yes. So search is basically you put the good work out there, then the super talented people or the people who really want it would find you guys. For example, they know they can get recognitions. So it's a it's you searching for the best talents. So this means that if this person is not creating great content, you don't necessarily train this person or teach this person or educate this person on how to improve further. Or it's the opposite, like everybody can potentially be great talents. You just have to put in a lot of effort into, for example, thinking about how to create great content, and then you can do it with the right feedback and iterations.
I think it's the second one because I don't think I mean, maybe Chaz, you could speak more on this. Do like the content creators, like, over time we see them improve in their content. Like they get better, and as we're pushing out more content there. They get better from the feedback provided from helpers or mods. Um, I will say I think crypto and or web3 or CT sometimes projects what I've seen in other management, sometimes they just hand out roles. So there's kind of this preconceived notion that, hey, if I be active here, I'm going to get a role. And then they come to our server and it's like, no, that this is not how we run things. I want to say it's a bit of a crypto Twitter problem too, where, other communities, that's how they run. And there's this expectation, but I think over time they do improve if they put in the effort. And they do. And then again, the whole goal eventually is that they deposit. They learn about us, and they do use our product, and they learn why why it's something that's important that they need for um to make money in the space. Bertaz, do you want to? I'm not sure if you had a different opinion.
Yeah, I'm definitely leading on the second one too, the developmental, just because I already have people off the top of my head that fit this example. Like we have this community member named Guklupin, but basically for 2 months they went promoted. They got very demotivated, and they're just like, "Why am I like? What am I doing wrong? What's going on?" But they're like, "Okay, I need to ask the people that got promoted, what are they doing, and how can I get better?" And then they actually bought an iPad and like one of those Apple pencils, and they started drawing, and then they started to learn how to draw and create cool text with the drawing. And then they got promoted. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And another person named Sunex, where at first, so he's like a meme connoisseur. He'll create these really cool memes, but like he was creating memes, I think, for about a month and a half. And he also got discouraged. But then he started to look at how people were doing that were getting promoted. So then he tweaked his strategy. And now his memes are they have a really good rhythm of being educational but hilarious at the same time. And then it got recognized by the team, and now he's promoted. So a lot of times in our community, for sure, people will be on the development side. But as long as they can see that there's hope for them because a lot of other people have been in their place, and then they just got to stick to it and they'll get the result.
And I guess it's the fact that there is a community of curators who will give suggestions and improvement that makes that process so much better, right? Because it's just not your opinion, it's how everybody thinks that can improve, and that tended to be closer to the truth on how to improve something.
Yeah, definitely. It helps me personally too, because there was like weird sentiment in the beginning where people would think, "Oh, okay, so everyone that's getting promoted is all from Chaz. So if I don't get promoted, I should go to Chaz's DMs and like unload on him, like, why didn't you promote me?" But like, it's a lot more clear now that we have a whole team of people vouching um, all of this curated content. And the cool thing is, anyone who is looking to rank up in our community can just learn from the people that already did it.
How did you guys decide who to pick within the kind of like the judge circle?
So the judge circle is actually the entire volunteer list. So whenever people voice that they want to be a volunteer for one of our regions, in the past, I've learned from this, but I'd be like, okay, cool. I make a judge a character on myself. Unfortunately, I had to remove two people because I perceive them poorly. But these days, I have three people with me that will vouch for the next person that wants to be a volunteer. Like, okay, I need you to give them a vibe check all of their conversations, check their Twitter. Are they consistent? Are they real? And they want to actually be here and contribute and not just take something from us. And if they're good, then we bring them in, and then they're part of that voting circle. And everyone in the voting circle has been vouched by every single person in the circle, and I think they all like each other, which is good. We have a pretty solid team right now.
I guess they better like each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're kind of running out of time. I'm gonna skip a few things and get your thought specifically about KOLs, because I know you guys have done a lot of them. So it is regarding to sustainability. KOLs versus community content. Why did you guys decided to do community content over paid marketing? Yeah.
Oh yeah, so community content increase our mind share, which increases our overall value, right? Perceived value. So that's been I think our mind share currently is at 0.07%. Other protocols they use Kaido and you see them at 0.1%. So what's exciting for us is that we're growing organically, all right, in an upward trajectory without using a social fi platform. That's why we use roles. And the thing is, we do KOL marketing, but we built. Okay, here's my advice, right? So if you're a DeFi platform, right? Like for us, we're heavy on, you deposit large amounts of stable coins during the yield. This might be different from a more retail friendly product, right? But if you're in the DeFi space and for KOL specifically, it's you want to build out a long-term relationship with them, ideally with the ones that would use your product in the long run. I just find with KOLs, the reality is that there's so much people they're tweeting, right? And one tweet just isn't enough. You need a consistent form of content to really see that conversion, and that could get really expensive, right? I mean, you have KOLs that are charging you anywhere from 500 to 1K for a thread. So my recommendation is build out KOLs relationships in the long run, incorporate them into your community. That's the best approach versus just paying off ones. But just know it's where the capital really is. There's only a really select few of KOLs that can move that capital. Yeah. I don't want to name names, but yeah, that's my general advice for those in KOL marketing. It's yeah, pick them wisely, build good relationship with them, incorporate them into your community, and then you should start to see conversions over time.
Chaz, want to add something here?
Oh, when it comes to KOLs, like I think Steph is the master. I'm not sure what else I can add on to that. Everything was beautifully said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my last point, yeah, avoid paid. I mean, we worked with the project. Chaz, I mean, you saw it on without, and they did community. See, this is the problem with social fight platforms: is if you're borrowing someone else's audience, it doesn't convert as well. Um, they did content for us. We had a lot of mind share, a lot of impressions, engagement, but overall, and then once the cash leaves, there's heavy drop off. We just didn't see them in our community. So yeah, definitely avoid cash incentives. I'm personally anti-InfoFi. It's a really expensive, and I just think the ROI on it is really low. There's just too much noise in this space. It may be different for retail, but DeFi is. Yeah, sorry, just go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. You just reminded me. I won't name drop anything, but yeah, we had a campaign with the project, and then it's like a lot of people were incentivized to write stuff, and we had a really good. When it was actively in the campaign, it was good. But once the campaign ended, we started to see drop off, and I think it's been about 3 months, but they're like completely gone. So I think we would stay away from that in the future.
Somebody is asking, how do you kind of like start developing relationship with those KOLs over the long term?
Yeah, so how we start, get your founders on Twitter. Just engage with KOLs. Like find the ones that are in your domain, right? So for us, it's Pendle KOLs, right? Because they're the one where we're heavily integrated into Pendle, right, with ReUSD. And they have their community of KOLs that are actively pushing content. So I would start there. Find like common protocols. Find their KOLs and just start interacting with them on Twitter. Like, follow, engage with their content. And then, once you feel like you've built up that relationship, just send them a DM. Just be like, hey, just introduce yourself, introduce your protocol. And over time you could hit it off from there. But I want to say where you start is just Twitter, find commonality. And get your founders on Twitter. Get them tweeting. It'll help attract that audience. And then lean on your if you have VCs, if you're on chains, maybe they could intro you to KOLs. I have the respect for agencies. Hey, they're doing their work, but personally, I think it's better to just build out those relationships yourself or use your resources to intro yourself to KOLs. Agencies could get really expensive. We tried that with YouTube. And I'm not gonna lie, we saw really low lift. So, yeah, it's a lot of manual work, but it's worth it in the long run.
Just like for whatever it's worth, we track the data on Kaido, and when a project is doing very specific, for example, influencer campaign, some of them are really aggressive. They were giving out a very attractive cash reward, and they are a retail business. And so we tracked their SEMrush website visit. It actually went down during the month that they were doing aggressive marketing. So I don't think anything happening on CT would easily convert. Like it is absolutely not a linear relationship. The more tweets that you have, or the more money you give away, the more traffic you can drive to your website. Like that does not exist, at least on the linear terms, even on the retail side too. So it's not just like a B2B problem. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. I guess we are on top of the hour. I want to thank you guys for doing this. If any of you are interested, we do have a blog about specifically on how Reed does some of the things and some of the details that we did not cover today. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to check out either Reed's Discord, which is really good. If you go to Reed Protocol, you'll find their Discord right there. I think it's just r/Reed Protocol for their Vanity Discord invite link. Or you can go to our Discord, and we do have a feature called Hype Engine X integration. So we are in beta version. Feel free to check it out and leave us a message on Discord if you have any questions. And again, I want to thank Chaz and staff to be here and keep up with the good work. You guys are really my favorite project. I would totally put not financial advice, but I will personally put my money in if not for the fact that I'm from US. I know you guys don't support US yet. Okay, cool. I will talk to you guys next time then.
All right. Thank you for having us. It was a great chat.
Um,
Yes, thank you for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much. Take care. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.